Hello everyone. Welcome to the trip. It's the night after the Monday after the Etihad game, I've given a new name, and we'll get into all of that stuff. But the new name for that team, not even calling by the name anymore, is the Petty FC. So
Gary, I've got a
basically,
name for that team, but I'm fully aware that your mother does come onto this stream every now and again, so I'm not going to say the name that I have. I don't want to get your channel cancelled.
yeah. But Petty
Can you
FC,
tell us
Petty,
what letter? Can you
yeah.
tell us what letter it starts with and
It starts
ends
with
with?
C.
Oh, okay, I can understand where you're going with this. You don't need to go any further. But yeah, no, Petty FC, and with their leading man, we Petty Viking. So that's kind of how I will be naming them from now on, at least for this season. So we got Tony in the house. Tony, you doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. So is four different versions of Batman in the background.
Nice. That's not really the background if you don't know what backgrounds mean, because usually backgrounds mean behind
Behind you.
something.
That's in the forefront.
It's behind my camera. I'm on the front camera. That's on the back camera.
Okay, so you're still not getting it, but all right. we're moving along. Stan, how are you doing?
I mean, as myself, I'm all right. But after why we're all here and what we're going to talk about, it's really kind of pissed me off, Gary. To be fair, and it's kind of I'm glad that we're in an age now where we have these kinds of places after these kinds of episodes to come and dissect it and talk about it. If we go back to the years when we didn't have YouTube and social media, you'd have to wait till you could get down the pub or phone someone up or try and find a gooner in the company and get about a water cooler to discuss it. So I'm glad that we have these places to let it out, because I've got a lot balled up.
All right.
And every single one of them has Gary on it.
Okay.
Gary gets around.
Supply and demand, Tony.
Hey there. All right.
People
So
demand it, Gary supplies it.
we'll say hi to everyone. We've got PX in the house. You've got Brownie in the house. Brownie, of course, is probably just waking up, or no, probably should be going to sleep, but isn't.
Why? What is the time in Telford?
Isn't it? I said early in the
He's
morning.
in England. He's in England somewhere.
You think he's not really in Australia? You think he's kidding us? It's just just jokes.
It's probably in Shrewsbury.
Got Emerson joins us at late in the evening from you, buddy. Well, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Lonzo's in the house saying hi to you guys. And oh yeah, 9:30 in the morning for him, so he's having his tea. Yeah, we'll get into
It's
like
brownie.
Oliver and
Are
more.
you sure it's tea?
Yeah. Are you sure it's tea? Wow. That definitely is a question there. All right. So we will get into it. We'll start with our usual thing. We'll start with the we'll go through the lineups, the first half, second half, and then the highlights after that, because there's probably a lot we can talk about, especially before and after the game. Especially after the game, there's tons of stuff that happened. So we'll get into all of that. We'll probably get into it as we go through this thing. But a quick thing, I guess we'll go through the lineup real quick. I mean, the only major change in the lineup from the previous match was that Ben White actually sat out, so that meant Timber got to move over to the right back, and Calafiori gets his first start for Arsenal. Otherwise, it's the status quo. We got Rare in the back. We got our two, Saliba, Gabriel in the middle, Partey, Rice, and Havertz. Even though I didn't want Partey, but we'll get into that. Martinelli, Saka, and Trossard. So there you go. So let's get into it. As I said, for me, I was thinking Partey wasn't actually going to make the lineup, just because I didn't think he could do 3 games in that short amount of time. So Partey was a big surprise for me. Boy, was I wrong. But then Calafiori getting a start was really good to see. and we'll get into that. So, Tony, anything in the lineup stood out to you?
The last name you said there, Calafori. Um,
Yeah.
Surprised to see him in there. I figured Timber would be playing there, but I did say I wouldn't be surprised if we see Timber on the right side. I just wasn't expecting Calafori to be on the left. But
Yeah. Well, Timber is a right back. I think is probably primarily where he played. I thought at Ajax, so that's why everybody said he was a backup to Ben White coming in. So, and Calafiore is definitely the left back coming in. But before Stan talks, I'm just going to bring in the fourth member of the show, Spencer from
get
Virginia.
off the carpet.
What's up, Tony? Stan?
That's where he
here.
lives.
Thanks.
Please let the man live where he lives. All right.
Carpet.
Hello there, Spencer. We're just getting into the lineup, so I'll let you have your say after.
Could be worse. It could be in bed.
Yeah.
So, Stan, talk to me about the lineup.
I like the way that the formation has been similar to what we've been doing without Odegaard in the sort of like having two sort of playing up front. With Calafiore, I wasn't really surprised to see him because I think when you go out and you pay 43 odd million for a player and you've already got a good defence, they're not coming in as a backup. You're going to see them. So for me, it was always about a matter of time and interested to see where he'd be deployed. He started at left back, but I think as well as the season goes on, we may see him cover for Mega Legs now and again because he can play in that position. But no real surprises of the lineup. I was thinking maybe we might have seen Sterling come into the starting lineup, but that wasn't to. And I think obviously the way that the game took shape, it was going to be difficult to get players like Sterling and perhaps Nweri into the team because we had to go a different way. But yeah, no real surprises for me in the lineup.
Cool. And before Spencer, I guess Spencer will come right back in a bit, but we'll say hi. Lonzo says hello, and yeah, Partey isn't all that bad. He's been okay, and that is for me. It wasn't that he's bad. It's more that he's old, and I want him to last through the entire season. And I don't see that happening if he has to play 3 games in a week, essentially. So it's more about longevity. I would like to see him be able to play the same way throughout the entire season, and that's not going to happen.
Plus, he had his international duty as well quite recently,
Yes.
so it all adds up, doesn't it?
Yep. 2 fullbacks that can invert. That's also key with the 2 players that we brought in. So Spencer, talk to me about the lineup. Like we kind of highlighted Calafiore and Ben White, kind of switching. Kind of that switch there in terms of who was in, who was out.
I mean, that was the big surprise was Calafiore starting over Ben White. Yeah, that was the big one. Other than that, it was pretty much everybody I expected to play. I mean, it
Spencer
really
agrees with me.
Yeah, I mean, I was okay with Calafiore starting. It was interesting to see Timber get moved over to the right back position. I don't think we're really planning on completely inverting the whole game, but yeah, the lineup was about what I expected. So it was.
I think Ben White had a knee injury. Hearing that's why he
I
didn't
think that was the
start.
claim. The claim was the fact that Ben White, I guess they were holding him back, so they had a niggle or something. But either way, this is where you're at now. You got suitable people that can come in and start, and it's a good thing to have, good problem to have. I'm sure we'll get deeper into it. Some tactical stuff I saw today that was rather interesting, especially when we went down to 10 men. But yeah, that's my take.
Cool. Yeah, no, it's it sounded like Ben, like you said, either they're arresting Ben White or whatever. Definitely was hoping not to have to play him, but he was available. I guess the fact that he was on the bench for me.
You went slightly mute, Gary.
It's weird. It muted me. Now is it back?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Fine now.
Like my headphones just like automatically mute. I'm not sure why. So I'm gonna just, if I start talking, you don't hear me. It's probably because it just automatically muted. Sounds like I gotta buy a new set of headphones because they just mute for no reason. But anyway, so let's get into it. So we'll go through the first half. You can pick wherever you want to go in the first half. There's a lot to get into. I mean, you've got 3 goals scored, you've got red cards, you've got yellow cards, you've got lots of everything going on in there. And I guess
not given red cards. Don't forget that.
we've got and no yellows and some yellows and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, for the first half for me, it just I guess I kind of gloss over it real quick, and you guys pick and choose where you want to go. But that first 10 minutes, I was like, well, we're just like feeling our way into this game, and that's not good. Not good. You don't want to do that if you don't have to. I mean, we were testing our defense pretty early in the game, and didn't know why we were doing it. Didn't know why we weren't putting any pressure on them as well. We are good on the attack when we have possession. It didn't seem like we wanted to get any of it, so we could handle that. But then we started getting into the game, and that's where it got a lot better. For us. It ended with a bang. So I'll let you guys kind of go through where you want to, and I'll kind of fill in when I see fit. So we'll go with you, Tony. So first half.
First half, to me, like I said, the first 20 minutes, you get to Holland's goal. I mean, the way the game was going then, it's like we were to lose 3-0. Ended up being 2-2 with a bang at the end. But I thought we corrected ourselves well after they scored. And it looked like right before half, looks like we're to win. And then somebody gets a second yellow after somebody that should have had the red first minute of a game. If it was anything but the first minute of a game, Spencer's pal, Mr. Kai, would have been booted from the game. So.
Okay. Yeah, you started it, so I'm gonna. There's
You're like, well, where's Tony taking us on?
Oh, I know.
Right.
No, I'm gonna at least respond to that. There was something wrong with Rodri. That first 10 seconds, what he did, that's not what he does. You don't do that. Not Rodri. Not one of the best players in the world, or if not the best player in the world. So when I saw that, I knew something wasn't right about him. Not sure what it was, but that didn't seem right for him to actually try to bait us into a card that early in a game. I mean, he doesn't have to do that. He just beats us with his talent, right? It's pretty clear there's something else going on in there. But yeah, I'll fill in every time I switch over. But Stan, that first half, talk to me.
Well, going into this game, I was extremely nervous just because of the competition. And we've got a key player like Odegaard out, and up until when they scored that first goal, and that first goal went in, I thought, okay, well, my fears have been compounded. Now the floodgates are going to open, and Haaland will probably walk away with another bloody hat trick. However, after the first goal, I never got really that much rattled in the game after that. I felt that we looked good. The way that we responded with that first goal, that was a real, pick the game up by the scruff of the neck moment. It's a little bit like, I can't remember the game it was. It was Bakary Sagna. We weren't doing well in the game, and he just got hold of the ball. It was literally like, I've had enough of this, and he just whacked it into the net. It was one of them moments which makes everybody in the team go like, yeah, fucking right. Let's go for this. So I didn't really feel that rattled until later on in the second half, which we're going to get to. So I started to feel fairly comfortable. And I think I've got to give this team a lot more credit than what I think they've been worth and what I've seen from them this season. There's been quite a lot of little bumps in the road, and we seem to be navigating those bumps so well, when I, going into games, haven't been giving them much of a hope because I've been worried. So I have to give this team more credit than I have. And I've been giving them a lot of credit, but they definitely showed me something. And I don't want to jump ahead too much in this game. But yeah, the first half was really nervous up until the Haaland goal. Thought, floodgates were going to open, but then was really pleased with the way that we started to control the game after that goal.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, a lot going on. Spencer, I'll let you continue on from where I stand.
Computer's frozen, Gary. Here, okay.
Right.
Yeah. So after the first goal, I didn't get that same feeling of like, like Stan said, like it was going to fall apart. But I definitely had this kind of worry, like, well, that just made what was going to be a hard task even more hard to complete. Good, quick, free kick taken. Whatever they want to complain about. Tony, I don't think Havertz should have gotten sent off for that. No, I know Graham Lasso went on for 2.5 minutes about how he thought it should have been sending off, but he was wrong. But the second goal on the set piece, Walker, posted up on Gabrielle. I don't know. Charles started, it's a wave of emotions because that 2 hours had so much packed into it. You could talk about it for 7 hours, as crazy as that sounds. But that first half, you're up 2-1, get into that 50th minute, and you're like, okay, at least make it to halftime, see what happens from there. And then the sending off happened, and that just changes. I know our text thread was going out. A lot of emotional reactions more than logical reactions, but at the same time, we've been screwed over by Michael. Well, the whole league has been screwed over by Michael Oliver, if we're going to be honest here. Michael Oliver's screwing the whole league over. He's about the most incompetent ref. He makes Anthony Taylor look good. But yeah, good first half from us. Good response from going down 1-0. Very unfortunate to not get 3 points, but that first half was about minus the red card, was about as good as you could have had it for our history at Man City since 2015.
How did you react though when Calafiori scored that goal? Because where he was on the pitch, and I'm thinking, I can see a couple of passes he's going to make. There's no way I thought he was going to pull the hammer back. I was like, was that for me? I was like, well, that wasn't in the script.
Do you think he did it on purpose? Do you think think it was a shot, or do you think it was a cross?
He meant that.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally just caught me off guard, man. Brilliant.
I just asked that because the commentators made that mention of it.
He looked confident when he took that shot. I just wanted to see it go where it went, and then as soon as he saw it on target, he kind of ran off a little bit. So I think he knew what he was doing. Let's see how Nick Fadley joins us. Welcome to the show. Yeah, no, no emotion. You know what? That game drew the life out of me. I was like, oof. So it was a tough one to watch. So
I bet devs, right, when Calafiori scored that goal, I bet the devs at EA Sports were rushing out to put out an update to bring up Calafiori's long shot attribute in the game, because I didn't know he had that in his locker. I mean, that was very impressive. If he can come up with a couple of them a season, a few of those a season, I mean, what a tool to have.
True.
It's like he definitely better be taking some of the free kicks, because he looks like he's good at it.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see about that. But he looked really good. Yeah, everybody says karma came for Rodri. I think City was desperate. They knew this was a big game, and they knew they wanted. I believe they forced Rodri out onto that pitch. He should have never been on there. Like, he had only played 45 minutes going into that game. There's probably a reason for it. And now, guess what? It backfired. They only got 10 minutes or so, whatever the number of minutes out of him they got. I think they forced him out there, and that backfired.
The second I heard the commentators mention that, I was like, yep. He shouldn't be out there.
That's not it. He just, he tried to, lean into Partey, which, yes, it's not an easy thing to do, but he is a tough guy based on the way we've seen. So when he went down, you're like, nah, that he should have never been playing. So it's one of those things I fear for Saka. Like we play him so much sometimes. I'm like, that right there is an example why sometimes I don't want him out there.
That was the best thing about the red card though, is Saka went off early. He got some good rest.
True. Yeah. Martinelli got an assist, which is he contributed. He contributed, right? We're talking about he needs GA. He got his GA, right? So and for me, he played defensively well, which is what he always does, but we needed it, and that was one of the reasons why he was going to start. All right, we needed it in this kind of game. I think everybody that played partly because they could all defend, and we needed that in this kind of game. So I was okay with some of the lineup because of that. But also, what is it here? Yeah, Harlan definitely was going after everybody. Basically, tried to what he just remembers the last time he played us, right? And the man ended up on the ground. He wasn't going to let that happen, but guess what? He still ended up on the ground. So, I think we he's it's not going to be any fun. You know what? There's no way he's going to get a yellow card when he comes to the Emirates because Gabriel. There's no way. We'll get into why Gabriel's probably going to have something to say about that in the second half. But yeah, that first half for me, as somebody was saying, I kind of look into it around that 30-minute mark or so. The game started to switch in our favor a little bit more. We started to get a little bit more control of the game, and then we started to get attempts, attacks into that final third. Got our first corner that we actually were able to put. It should have scored the first one.
Who was that on? The corner where Gabriel scored. Who was that where before the corner was getting taken and Gabriel was in the box? Who was the player that was standing in front of Gabriel and just kept tapping him to annoy him?
Kyle Walker, which is
that didn't work at all.
It's probably the worst guy the worst. He's like, I know he used to be a good defender.
Slap him in the middle.
I was like, what's this guy's deal?
Yeah, all he did was one move to the right, and he sent him on his way, and then he went back, and by the time Walker knew what was going on, the ball was in the net. So yeah. And then before that, he had one of the youngsters on him, which was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you putting like a little youngster on this guy?" It was yeah. No, it was pretty good that first half, the way it ended, and we started. I think once we decided to actually, I think. I don't like the way we play sometimes in a sense that we wait for them to take the first punch. Like sometimes in these big games we can do that too, right? We get a little bit of control and then we move that ball up the pitch. So I guess we'll get into Could you guys get into the last 5 minutes, or should we just do that now?
Can I just say as well, when we scored that the first goal, we kind of really rattled it. But when we scored that second goal, some of the expressions on Pep's face, some of the expressions on some of the City players' faces, I ain't never seen them like that before.
Yeah.
They were in disarray. Everyone was kind of like this, looking around they're totally
like, where did that uppercut
we rattled them. We really got to them.
We haven't seen them like that in a long time. Not just the rattle, but think about the amount of complaining to the ref and that things weren't going their way.
No, we have seen this, right? We saw this the last time we played. Like we played them
Pep kicking his chair
2 or 3 seasons ago. The first half, I think, the first half we played them really good, and definitely it was a similar situation. You got Pep going crazy, them screaming for
Port Albert.
Yeah, that's right. That's the one where Arteta was out for COVID or whatever. That first half, that's like we needed to double that, and I think we did that in this particular game. We just had to do it a different way. But that first half looked fairly similar. And you know what? The difference was we were able to get that second goal, whereas in that game we only got the one goal, and we had opportunities to get the second goal. We never did, and that backfired on us. And then Gabriel lost his head, and all these kind of things go on, right? So we're much more.
Their reaction on the second goal was like, you ever seen that GIF that they do from the Office, the American Office, where they're going like, "Don't panic," and everyone's running around and people are jumping out the windows, and they're like, all. They were like that. They were in disarray. They couldn't believe what was going on. And I was loving every second of it.
But I'm okay with Gilberto.
Which makes the way the actual half ended even more unpalatable
Just
for me.
Mega Legs
Because-
looked so good on that header.
And it was ahead of it too. Like he was so far ahead of it, he had to you see his legs ahead of him, and he's like got to lean back almost to get it to like come off the back of his head.
It almost looked like it hit the back of his head because
Yep. No, for sure. But I think hopefully what this will do is a lot of teams that are like kind of fearful of City will just like play some football, and not like as they say, lose the game in the tunnel. All right, because now they're a little hurt right now. It might take them a while to figure it out, or they might come out ready to go. But I kind of feel like everybody's against Arsenal winning, and they're okay with City winning. I don't get that at all either. Like especially when they keep winning. Spencer, I know something you wanted to say.
Yeah, so I think it's part of it's the tunnel aspect, right? You lose it in the tunnel. The other aspect of it is not many teams are that defensively sound to maintain proper positioning, proper spacing, proper man marking for that long of a game. So that becomes the other problem here is Arsenal, like that was elite level defending we saw yesterday from our team. Even though it didn't work out, you still got the draw. There was a point in the 80th minute. I'm like, they're not getting a goal. They don't have an answer. They didn't have. He put 6 at the back, and he was like, "All right, good luck." And it's dangerous, but I mean, they also didn't get the right guys. I think that they should have had that normally takes their shots, take the shots. So, but it's hard to play disciplined defense like that. It's just not every team's meant to do that, and it's not because of inability or but you have to be so mentally focused. And I think that. You got to have a good goalkeeper back there that commands the back line. You got to have 2 good defenders that understand their position. It's just not easy. So, but the tunnel definitely does it. You standing next to Haaland, and I mean, that it's intimidating. So I would imagine half the league loses the game the minute in the tunnel, but the other half, they give it a go, and they just don't have the same defensive acumen to make it through. So.
True. And, if you're gonna jump, try to do anything against City, probably now is the time. They're not gonna, and they have no answers until January in terms of what Rodri would bring to them. So, yes, they probably will figure out a different way. They might not be winning these games 3-0 and stuff like that. But
De Bruyne either.
Yeah. And who?
Kevin De Bruyne is out as well.
Kevin De Bruyne is out as well. So yeah. They didn't say how long he's out for, but I'm going to say hello to Miss Melina joins us. Yeah, I didn't see the tunnel as much. I didn't see Saka in the tunnel, but I think in the tunnel we've just been business. Anytime you see anybody, especially the Ben White when he's in there. So yeah. I think Rodri with his comments last year. If that wasn't on, they put the bulletin board up in the locker room. If that wasn't there, it definitely showed the way we played defensively. The one thing I was a little surprised by is the fact that we've seen City give up goals early in first halves, and we didn't even try to take advantage of that. I mean, isn't it the last game? I think the last game they gave up a goal early, and then pretty much after that, kind of like finished things off. But or 2 games ago. But yeah, the last 5 minutes. Let's get into that. Or last minute, essentially. Once again, I thought that Trossard got a yellow card earlier in that half because of a delay of the restart, because he was grabbing the attacker, and then eventually after the whistle was blown, he picked the ball up and started walking away with it, and I was like, but obviously it was for the foul for the grab. Essentially, I think, but I don't know what you guys think. But I kind of.
That's not what TV said. TV said it was the opposite.
The first one was
get into that.
So the first one, right? He grabs the attacker as he's going down the pitch. Whistle is blown. He does pick the ball up and run with it a bit, and then I see the yellow come out, and I'm like, crap! What? What do you like? He didn't really have to do that. He could have just fouled him. I don't think he would have got a yellow for that. Not really foul him, but just run into him kind of thing. So I don't know how you guys felt about that first foul on Trossard. Is that warranted or the yellow card he got? I don't. Yeah.
I think I missed that
The
first
second
one.
one was definitely a yellow.
Let's talk about the first one, dude.
The first one, he pulls the shirt of Severino. That's the problem on that one. He pulled the
Oh
shirt.
right, yeah.
I mean, that's clear cut as day. They're going to give you a yellow in the middle of the park if you do that,
Okay. All right. So we're good there. So there we go, Tony. Second one. Second yellow. Some say the amount of time between the whistle and the kick is like not that. It's like half a second. Some say you should know better because he did foul. But what do you think?
We're a team where Robert Van Persie at a very loud Barcelona stadium definitely couldn't hear the whistle, and he got sent off with his second yellow. So just the way, because they cut to that as they were taking like the commercial break after that, but the way he booted that ball, it looked like a yellow card.
You see where he landed? Do you see where the ball landed?
I didn't see where it,
if you saw where it
looked like
landed,
he
you would
booted
go.
the
It
shit out
actually
of it.
could have been a perfect attempt at getting Martinelli, who would have ran it down and be off on to the races to the goal. That's where that ball ended up. Just saying, Stan. What do you think about that second yellow and that whole sequence?
Well, how many minutes were added on at the end of that half? And
after,
it was like,
after that free kick, it was done, I think.
And the time was going on. I remember sitting there thinking, how long's this half going to go on for? And I think he got booked 3 minutes after the amount of time that was added on, or 2 minutes after the amount of time that is added on. So there was that, where it's like, are they waiting for something to happen before they end this half? It kind of felt to me. But we got done a couple of weeks before for kicking the ball away. So it is a little bit incredulous to have the same thing happen again, because you'd say to yourself, look, let's just not give the refs any reason. It's obvious that when it comes to applying the letter of the law, it only applies to if you're wearing an Arsenal jersey. Because this is the same referee, right, that did say in a similar situation when Coyg made a tackle on one of our players in the previous game. And the reason that he wasn't carded or anything like that is because he didn't want to disrupt the flow of the game, and he wanted to try and do everything, paraphrasing, but basically tried to keep 11 players on the pitch. He didn't want to spoil it. So what did he do there? He applied some common sense in his view. Yet when it's the other way around, it's not reciprocal. It's inconsistent. I do think that it was a moment of kicking the ball while the whistle was being blown. Your leg's in mid-strike. You can't just stop it. And again, in the same game earlier on, Doku could kick the ball away. And I think Declan Rice even gestured to the referee, because he knows about this now, doesn't he? He just kicked the ball away. So he made sure that the ref was aware of it, but nothing happened. So again, this is just like the last time with the Declan Rice thing. They applied the letter of the law. But my argument is why can't there be consistency in the same game? If you're going to let it go earlier, you set the bar, don't you? And other players see that. And I don't even think that Trossard purposely was kicking the ball away. I think he was striking the ball. The whistle was blown. So, but one thing I want to say is that when I listen to phone-ins and Talk Sport and another podcast and, the serious journalists that talk about it, if anyone ever mentions the word corruption or corrupt, they're always butting, or they're always like, no, let's not go down that road now. I know you're a little bit, annoyed about the result, but no, we can't have any of that. And I'm like, why are you acting like a referee has never ever been corrupt in the game of football before? We've seen it happen all over the world, many times. I mean, you get corrupt priests, you get corrupt policemen, you get corrupt judges. What, you're telling me that referees can't be either? So I don't like the way that when that suggestion is brought up, the way you're stopped. You're like, you know, come on, the world's not flat now. The world is not flat. Like you're talking about some sort of like pie in the sky thing that you've come up with a tinfoil hat, as if it's never happened before in the game. It does happen in the game.
True,
and I'm beginning to think that there is definitely something not right when the same referee is going out into the Middle East and refereeing games and picking up big bags over there. And some of those people that are organising those competitions or those leagues or what have you, have fingers in the same pie as these teams over here. For me, at the very least, there has to be a conflict of interest.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
At the very least, that's like saying I'm a Formula One driver for Ferrari, but 2 days a week I go and help out in the workshop over at Red Bull. You wouldn't be allowed to do that.
Let's get into that a little bit later, because there's, like I said, there's so much stuff outside of football that we can get into. I'll let Spence have his say on that.
So I mean,
hard and stuff.
I mean, I was sitting here with the wife, and it was 2-1. I was like, this is going too well. I'm sure something's going to happen. They're going to do a red card, a second yellow, and 10 seconds later, a Trossard incident happens. To me, so this is what we heard from the NBC broadcast here. They were saying VAR is checking on that foul. So everything that we were hearing was the foul. And then they come back and they say, oh, it's for kicking the ball. So the stories weren't even right from the Premier League, because VAR, the NBC broadcaster saying we're hearing a discussion about, you know, the foul and whether it's violent conduct.
It wasn't until during halftime where Rebecca Lowe was like, "Oh, we're in it for time wasting."
So
and like I said, I caught that clip of them showing him just booting the fuck out of a ball. It's what it looked like on the replay to me, and I was like, "Fuck."
Well, see, I almost feel like the foul was almost kind of rough at that point too. You're on a second yellow and you're launching, but then you got it earlier and later in the game. Ruben Diaz, I think, puts his elbow up and puts it in the back of Havertz's neck. Nothing's done there. No foul, no nothing. Yeah. So it was kind of poor by Trossard. Like his head wasn't in the game. Everybody else's head was in the game, but his seemed to be in some weird personal battle that he was having with everybody and their mom. And he kind of had it coming. You know, you've coached kids before or any type of sport before, Gary. When you see someone seeing red, you pull them off the field because they're going to hurt you more than they're going to help you.
Yeah. What I found weird, and I know probably nobody else caught this, is that we get done for 2 yellows, but we bring on a player that already has a yellow because he got up for time wasting before he's even on the pitch.
No, that's not why he got the yellow.
No,
that's not what Skelly. Skelly didn't get a yellow for time wasting.
They called it dissent.
Supposedly what he did was Arteta, and this is kind of, I don't know, you know, who knows how real this is, but at least the thing is Arteta was trying to tell Raya to just lay on the ground and a little bit longer. And Skelly was saying that to Raya supposedly, and I guess the referee caught wind of that, and that's when he walked over and gave him the yellow. You can't. How do you time waste on the sideline if you don't have the ball? And I don't think he had the ball at any point while he was on the sidelines, like for what I saw. So I think it was, you know, could have been dissent and essentially like telling them to, like, you know, waste time and all of that. We'll get into some of that and more. And let me say hello to some of the people. Taib has joined us, everyone. Say hello.
I'm going what the TV analyst told me, Gary, because that's what they said.
I mean, just speaking about the time wasting, they had a look at how long the ball was in play for the second half, and it was around about 35 minutes, and that's the longest that the ball has been in play in the second half of the game so far this season. So where does the time wasting come from?
Yeah, they're just making stuff up. Stefan joins us. Welcome to the show, Stefan. Yeah, no, that tackle also from Trossard. I don't know if it's in the second half or not, but wee petty Viking basically took out Saliba in the middle of the pitch. Nothing was given, and they both went flying when he went in. So yeah, no, I think they're kind of letting some of that stuff go, but I think that was just like salty and petty for that yellow card. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's he assaulted our center backs twice, and we'll get into this as well a little bit later. So going into the half, we're down. We're up a goal, and we're down a man. What are we gonna do in the second half? So Ben White standing on the sidelines as they start the second half. So we know Ben White's in, and who's out? Sacker. All right. The one thing I'll say though is Trossard stayed on the pitch. I don't know why. Trossard was on the pitch and not Sacker. Sacker, for me at least, is more defensively sound than Trossard.
Yeah.
Trossard might be more a clinical shooter, but in this type of game, we weren't going to get that. We weren't even going to get enough chances for him to make a difference. You know, it's going to have to be something special, and you know, Saka does do that. So when now that I'm thinking about it now, like Trossard staying on didn't really make any more sense to me than Saka in terms of what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to be pretty, solid in our defense. Maybe somebody else could have come on as well, but that was a little strange for me. But anyways, we'll get into it. Second half, as if everybody assumed we're going to go with a low block, and that's what we did. We did that it was really, really painstaking to watch that game in that second half. Basically, we were just like as if we weren't already. We already play games where we kind of like let's see what the other team can do against us. When they're on the attack. In this particular case, we're just like, all right, you're gonna have to beat us through this final third, and City's probably the last team you want to have to do that against. But we tried it. We tried it. I'll let Stan go first in terms of that second half, and we'll hold the extra period for the last part. But we're going to the first 45 minutes anyways.
I felt like I was sitting on my sofa for days watching that. Time's ticking so slowly. And it was just a case of, for me, initially thinking, how low can we keep the score? Because I wasn't sure whether we would be able to hold out against them. But I think the way that we played was magnificent. David Raya, again, showing really good class, man, as a goalkeeper. As the weeks go by, he impresses me more and more, David Raya, and I see why now. Mikel Arteta decided to go with the decision that he made, because you can't fault him. He's keeping us in games. I thought Martinelli, under the circumstances when we went down to 10 men, I thought he was excellent as well with some of that defensive work. Everybody was playing for each other, and I think it's when you get into these kinds of situations and you come away from it, I think that what happened in that game is going to really help to galvanise this team even more than they already are. And I bet that they can't wait to play Man City again, which is a good attitude to have. The days are gone now where you're looking at the calendar and you see, like, coming up in a few weeks, you've got a City game, and you're like, oh, no. Okay, I'll put that at the back of my mind until we get to it. They probably can't wait to play City, because you can see that they believe now that they can get the better of them. And if everything being all laid and equal, with referees not making dickhead decisions, maybe we are able to get the better of them.
Oh, for sure.
They're very painstaking, up until the end. They're very, very painstaking.
Yep. So Spencer, tell me, at least for the 45 minutes, how things were for you.
Well, before you guys get mad, there was about the 80th minute on. Bo Nick started figuring it out, so that was on in the background. So it was a mix of emotions. The Broncos were up 14-0, and then this was going on. So I'm like, what do I do? But anyway, let's go to the stuff that people care about, not what I care about. Yeah, I mean, it was just, teams in the past that we've taken up there would have folded like a deck of cards. I think I mentioned it earlier. The defensive acumen, mentality, it's second to none. I mean, I don't think we realize how hard it is to go do what they did. And like Stan said, keep 100%. Like, the ball was in play the most. They kept blaming time wasting, which, to be fair, I was all for the time wasting. Let's do it. Let's take advantage of it. I think it bit us in the butt a little bit because there was a little bit too much time wasting. I know some players went down and they had to be subbed off. because they're going to stop the clock anyway, and I it's big club privilege. So people are going to argue, well, Arsenal a big club. What point are you making? Man City, in the eyes of the FA and the Premier League, are a bigger club at this point, so they're going to get the benefit of the doubt. And I was talking it earlier, Stan, getting around the ref and making all these, making yourself heard and constantly complaining. Michael Oliver, as much as I dislike him, he's still a human being. Eventually, you're going to be. There's that, I don't want to say starstruck, because obviously refs are supposed to be
influence.
Correct, but the influence is there by the fact that Bernardo Silva's getting up your face every 10 seconds and saying, "Hey,
United
ref,
used to do it all the time, didn't they? United used to do it all the time.
Yeah, yeah. So, I don't know where the 7 minutes came from or the 8 minutes. I really don't know. But we also had a player go down, I think, right at the end of extra time there. So, it's just unfortunate how it ended out. But, I mean, I'm proud of the team. So I know I saw the tweet that you put out, Gary, about 2 points lost. I can, and obviously we're going to disagree on that, but I'm proud of the team that didn't fold. Yeah. I mean, like Stefan said it in the chat, Arsenal would have taken a point at the beginning of the day, and we would have absolutely taken that. I know it's not what we want. It may come back and bite us later in the year, but I said it in the group chat on Ryan's channel. At the end of the day, if this team loses the league, it's not because they've got a point at City. It's because they dropped a point to Brighton or they drop a point to Ipswich or whatever. That's where they're going to lose this league. But, I mean, that's 4 games unbeaten against City, and you've taken, I think, 2 of them at your place. I mean, we should have won 4-1. We could have done that. We could have easily – that game could have been a 4-2, 3-2, and that's what's unfortunate about Michael Oliver's decision. He didn't want to impact the game at the Emirates in 23. He absolutely had an impact on the game in 24. But I'm sure we're going to get to Michael Oliver and the refereeing in this country. But at the end of the day, man, it's really sad how it ended, because you just gutted for him after you've defended that well.
Yeah,
and for that to happen, but Raya's been Remember the Raya Ramsdale argument last year? Well, I think that's kind of seen its way out of the argument.
But I feel like I went more through the emotional roller coaster because me and Stan both, after Holland scored, say, "Oh, this game's gonna be 3-0." Then out of nowhere, down a man, you're kicking their ass for 53.5 minutes, and just one little let off, then it was 2-2. So if I went from, "Oh, we're definitely gonna lose," to, "Oh, I really think we're gonna hold on to win this," to, "Oh, fuck, they got even."
Yeah. Very true. Very true. No, one thing I'll say is that if you think about the way the game went, the 2 players that pretty much opened the door for Haaland's first goal both responded and got us back into the game. I mean, Calafiori came out a little bit timid on the wing there, got turned, and then Gabriel was kind of a little bit out of position. Could have put Haaland offsides, but didn't do that, and then pretty much got beat to the.
He was what him and Saliba were the whole time. They were playing wider than they have been all season, and I think that's part of why he was out of position, because they were playing very wide.
Well, like I said, it started with Calafiori, and then Gabriel just didn't have enough to catch up to one of the best strikers. You can't give him that much space, and they basically ran away from him. Now, for me, going into this game, I had us winning 1-0 because one thing I'll say, I think we all agree, is that we have probably one of the top defenses in the Premier League, if not in Europe. Our defense is pretty strong, and if we're going to win a game, which I think we can win pretty much every game we play, we're going to win it because of our defense. All right, we're pretty solid on our back. We could change all the pieces, and we're still going to be fine against most teams. Right. So for me, this game came down to the defense. I didn't expect it to be a full 53 minutes of defense in the second half, but that's where we were going to win and lose games for me. And the fact that that goal happened the way it did, it looked no different to me than the Brighton game. Kind of same thing. We got opened up right down the middle, where we've got our best. Our spine is supposed to be really good, and once again we kind of gave up the middle of the pitch. So and that's last thing we can do in any game, because we get beat one on one with a goalkeeper most of the time. Everybody else scores. For us, it's a little different. But yeah, no, I watching that second half. I was doing a watch along, and basically, of course, since I was doing it with some guys, the guys from England, they had a couple of seconds ahead of me on it. So kind of like standing behind the couch watching what they did. But
You're
there
telling
was
me somebody's internet was finally faster than yours. That's breaking news, Gary.
yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like always 30,
Well, when you're watching it
30
live, you're always
seconds
going to
ahead
be.
of us.
If you're watching it live, you're always going to be faster than anybody else, right? But no, it was that second half. Like, the thing that we missed was, or the thing that I expected us to happen was, in that second half, at least once in a while, Martinelli was going to be able to break away. And a couple of times, somehow, Kyle Walker was able to take him off the ball twice. And I thought that was a telling sign. Like, still, like we, a couple of times they put the ball out for him, and both times Kyle Walker was able to get to it before he did. And I don't think Kyle Walker's got that pace anymore. I think Martinelli should be able to beat him. And I know it's because of the defense and stuff, but those are the few times that you're going to get in that type of a game. And nothing says like sealing a game like being able to outrun Kyle Walker and put the game away down a man. And we could just didn't happen. But I thought that would have been another thing that he could have done. Now extra time comes, as you said. We had to make some more subs. Got us up right at the 90-minute mark. And
we had a player come on. Young Skelly's going to now be a pub question, isn't he? He's going to be a question that will come up to the tiebreaker. Which player came on as a substitute and already had a booking?
True. Well, you got to book him before he got a minute in a Premier League game. I mean, that's kind of even crazier. Got booked in the 50th minute, but he didn't enter the game until like the 90th or whatever it was. So
made his debut already on a yellow card.
When you seen that sub, you're like, "Fuck! Why are they bringing on a guy with a yellow?"
I did think that. To be fair, I did think that. I was like, really?
Yeah, I think it would have been really.
I was like, that's a bit cocky of us. But
I don't know about cocky. I mean, I like to think at some point our players can know a little bit better and they're not going to do something silly, But they do.
Whatever you do, don't kick the ball away.
Yeah, exactly. Don't kick the ball.
You're already on the yellow.
Yeah. Chris next joins us. Welcome to the show. All right, so we'll get into. I guess here's a question for you. What do you think about the Academy kids, Tony?
I still haven't seen enough of them.
Yeah.
Seeing one with a yellow card was really weird. Coming on, but
yeah.
I never recall seeing that in the probably 30 years I've been watching football. Is bring on the dude with the yellow. Do you ever recall it, Stan?
He's probably the most loose of the players that we're going to bring on. So, just basically the only time you can boot the ball away is when it comes to you. Otherwise, stay away.
It's a bomb.
Yeah, exactly. But so that's kind of those 45 minutes. Now, the end of the game, they still had opportunities, and I think even with like 5 minutes into the extra time, we actually had the ball deep in their side for a bit. We couldn't hold it there, of course, but we did have the ball down there. And I think one of the things that you can see is that if we, had a striker, for example, we had a striker, not that we probably would have kept him on at that point, but maybe hold that ball up a little bit. And there was that one in that second half, maybe it's in the second half, where Kai was 7 feet tall, he probably would have been able to head that ball over the goalkeeper. Maybe probably would have got cleared, but still. But we had chances there. Now, all right, we'll get into it. We'll start with Spencer. All right, if I recall, it was 53 minutes, was it? Oh, no, it's 52 minutes and about 40 seconds, basically. And they're taking their corner before the game is done. What are you thinking? I'll let you
I thought we were going to hold on. Everything was trending in that direction. There was no reason to believe we couldn't hold on. And I've seen a little replay of it. It looks like Partey kind of left. I can't remember who did the shot, the loose ball, but Raya almost got his hand on it or leg on it or almost made a save.
Rhea's made the first save.
Right, I'm saying the rebound.
Yeah, Rhea made the first save. There was nobody by Stones.
Yeah.
Only the closest person to Stones, I just watched it multiple times. The closest person to Stones when this all started was Saliba. Was actually Saliba, and he moves in when the ball goes out. He moves in, pretty much giving Saliba Rhea an opportunity to clear it, but then he left Stones basically by himself right on the post, and essentially, and then that's how that worked out there.
Yeah, I haven't rewatched that ending goal. It's too painful, Gary. To be honest with you, Nah, just kidding. It looks like just it's hard to stay perfect that whole time, but these are the margins, the fine margins that that are the difference between a champion and trying to become a champion. And I wonder if the roles are reversed, would City have held on? And that's we don't know the answer to that. Obviously, it doesn't matter. But just sad that it happened, man. I figured that was going to be it. We were going to defend the corner. Raya was going to get up there because Raya commanded the box all day on corner pieces. Got up there and jumped up, took him down. But what really stuck on me, I'm sure we're going to get to this, is City scores for goal. Holland picks the ball up and just chucks it at the back of Gabriel's head. And apparently VAR looked at it and said, that's okay. So, I mean, that's
There's two things there. It's I don't know what they call it, but that's like, you're basically instigating a fight, and then also essentially you're delaying the restart of the game, which I thought was a yellow at the least.
Because it was a problem, right, when Ben White kicked the ball at Ben Mee. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
There was that foul, and he turned around and he kicked the ball. This guy literally picked you use your feet for football, right? This guy picked the ball up with his hands and
threw it at a player, and nobody saw it. Nobody thought there was warranted for anything,
Especially in a time when we're going through like concussion breaks and stuff like that as well, right? That's what the game's talking about.
The game stops for a head injury, but you can throw a ball at somebody's head, and it's all right.
And if you header a ball, you're preparing for it. It's like if someone's it's like when you do sort of martial arts, you tense up before they punch you, right? He had no idea he was going to get a ball thrown in the back of his head.
See, this is what I think Gabriel should have done the minute the ball at the back of his head. And if he'd have known it, someone should have been like, yo, he just threw a ball at the back of your head, start rolling on the ground, and he could have potentially forced them to look at it. It's still, the goal still counts. That needs to say. But this all comes back to the corruption that Stan was talking about. Corruption / incompetence /
No. Let's not go down that road.
Whatever adjective you want to describe it, it's there.
You went a step further than Stan did, Spencer.
I did. I absolutely did. I just, I think that should have happened. I would have been really okay with Gabriel rolling on the floor and acting like his life had ended based on that. Because you could have looked back at that video. You could have argued he threw it as hard as possible at his head. You could have made that argument. And many other times we see people on the pitch roll around like they've been shot by somebody. Do you think
there's a shout for violent conduct? I think there's a shout for that.
That is violent conduct, right? It doesn't matter if you maim somebody, but if you put somebody's health in danger.
It's like if I'm in a pub and I fire an ashtray at your head and you cut your head open, that's violent conduct. But if I fire an ashtray at your head and for whatever reason it doesn't cut your head open and you're all right, I'm still getting done for violent conduct, right?
Yeah, the
They're not gonna
first
let me
one
off.
is malicious wounding with an object. That's what they'll call it in the state of Virginia. If you draw blood with an object, so that's an automatic felony. Period.
Yeah. You know what? This is the like Chris. I hear you, but dude, if that was him going in there and smacking the back of his head, not really hard, but as hard as the ball, that's not cool either. And I think that would be given a yellow easily. So throwing a ball at somebody's head, I kind of feel like, you know what, you're being disingenuous when you say, you know, why are we even bringing it up, dude? It's, you know what, we see it all the time. Somebody starts screaming at somebody and instigating a situation. The referee steps in, and guess what? They're going to give a yellow sometimes to the person who starts it. All right. You're starting something that wasn't even. You just scored a goal. Why in the world? Like you're like going outside the parameters of being a footballer and playing football the right way.
So I mean, I'm just saying with Chris Nick's comment, you're okay with Holland throwing the ball at the back of his head. So now we're just good with that. After goals,
if Gabriel, right, had scored the goal with his header, ran in, picked the ball up, thrown it at the back of Haaland's head, this conversation would still be going on.
Yeah,
If
we did that, right? Everybody was saying, "How stupid are you to throw the ball in the back of somebody's head?" That's the you know, and that's the part. Like, maybe you're trying to get a rise out of us, but the comment is just like, nah, you don't really believe that. Rosie joins us. Welcome to the show, Rosie.
So we got another.
Stephen actually joins us. Stephen's joining us a little bit late. Just got off work. Welcome to the show. You know, we've been doing this for about an hour now. Hopefully, you get to see the rest of it later.
Spencer. The one reason I'm not buying what you're selling is the fact that you're this fucking big, beefy brick shit house of a Brazilian, 6'4", getting hit in the back of the head. It's not your first reaction.
What if Gabriel, right? Because he's got a hot head. He's a highly strung guy, right? We've seen it. What if his first reaction was just to turn around and headbutt Haaland?
Yeah, they're going to give him a red card, and everybody's going to say it was warranted.
What? Provoked, right? Some people react in different ways. He could have turned around and swung a fist out, just as a heated reaction. Do you know what I'm getting at? Some people, and then what? Now we're having a different conversation, right? It's provocation. There's no need to do it. What was the need? He did it and sprinted off like a bitch. Did you see him?
Yeah, he did. He did run away.
In the playground.
He knew if he stayed there a little bit longer, somebody
he knew what he was doing.
Well, man, now we're so ready to get into what happened at the end of the game, because that also was. Can I tell you what happened to me though with with what happened to leading up to the end of this, because I was very different to Spencer. When it was getting up to 80, 85 minutes and all of that kind of a time on the clock, I was really like thinking, we're going to do this, man. We're actually gonna do this. We're gonna hold out with 10 men and beat City in their place. As soon as I saw how many minutes went up, my heart sank. As soon as I saw 7 minutes, I was standing up. I wasn't sat anymore. I was standing up looking at TV like that. And my missus was cooking the breakfast and she came in next to me. She said, and I was like, no. And then it was like maybe 3 minutes to go. And I walked away. I'm like, I can't watch this shit. She's like, why? This is the best bit. I was like, no, I don't believe it. Something is not right. You ain't gonna. I just felt this thing that it was too much. As soon as I saw how many minutes went up, seriously, my heart sank. And then it happened.
I'll agree with you on
that. And I just looked at my missus and went, I told you. And my missus was just like, how comes it was over the amount of minutes and all that? And I'm like, because they don't want us to win anything, do they? They're going to keep playing until they bloody score. That's what they always. That's exactly the conversation I was saying. That was just coming out of my mouth. That's just where I was.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Stan. You're right. The extra time when I saw the 7 minutes got up, I was like, but I still thought we were going to do it. I still thought we were going to do it.
Yeah.
But
Tony, go ahead.
If this happened last season, you wouldn't think much of it because so many of those games were going an extra 10 minutes. I still don't know how you get 10 minutes unless somebody's carted off the field. I don't see how you get up to 10 minutes of stoppage time.
They scored their goal over 8 minutes. It was 7 minutes, and it was like over 8 when they scored that goal.
Well, here's the problem. When Timber went down, Stan, that was at the 90th minute. So the time had already gone up, which sucks in itself. And I would like to get in this real quick, Gary, because I've seen people saying it's not deep and all this stuff, and I respect opinions. That's fine. But the problem we got here as football fans is we're too tribalistic and we're too laughing at when it happens to someone else. And we should be sitting here. There's incidents where Michael Oliver screwed over Everton, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal 2 or 3 times. And everybody's like, haha, that happened to you guys. I'm like, dude, it's going to happen to you next. Like, we need to sit here and stop worrying about tribalism and be like, no, that wasn't right. And we could sit here and talk about where the ball placement was against Arsenal on their free kick. We could talk about all these different things. Michael Oliver had a dreadful game. He had no control over that game the whole time, and it was horrific. And like Stan said earlier,
starting from the first kick of a ball.
First kick of the game. You should have, at bare minimum, you could have done a yellow card for Havertz if you wanted to. It was not a red.
Whoa. So this is where we're going to have the fight.
That's
you
fine.
think Havertz is the reason why that man, Rodri, didn't even bait him. Try to draw a card. He
hurt himself. He tried to run into Havertz and he hurt himself. It was ridiculous.
No. You're not gonna. No, we're not gonna do that. No, we're not gonna. Havertz had no. You start the game off. You start running down the pitch. The defender starts running at you. Havertz actually stopped, and Rodri ran into him and then fell over and rolled over like he got hurt. Nah, you look at that thing again. You tell me that Havertz actually should have got a yellow for that. I think that you're no better than everybody talking about his other things. That man was trying to get a yellow card, draw a yellow card from their referee.
He hurt himself.
From as soon as that whistle went off, because you know why? He knew he wasn't going to be able to do what he needed to do to get this game over the line for his team. The only way they were going to be able to do that is if, guess what? That yellow comes out early.
Well,
you saw what happened. He was gone in 20 minutes.
Well, Gary, hear me out on this one. Like I said, I didn't think anything was wrong with what Havertz did. However,
he didn't. No. See, right now you're insinuating that he actually did something, and I'm telling you, no. No, you got suckered as well. You got suckered by Rodri because he's like, this Ballon d'Or player. Nah.
Listen, Gary, I had Graham Lasso in my ear trying to convince God, King, and Country.
And you believe him, right? You believe everything you hear on TV.
Everything is like, hey, listen, I almost had to put it on mute. He was so bad.
Oh, he's always bad.
But listen, my argument is Michael Oliver had no control in that game, period. 0. And look, I'm a Havertz defender. I always will. So, Tony shouldn't have been a red.
You just think he wanted to get a yellow off the set in 10 seconds into the game. That's where you say you like him, but then you say Kai Havertz should have got a yellow to start the game off. That's exactly what City wanted. That's exactly what Rodri wanted, and you fell for it. Sorry, you fell for it. As I told you, mentally, he should have never been in that game.
The TV man, Gary.
Yeah,
no.
TV guy. Listen,
yeah, I would never do that. Here we go. Steven says, I didn't watch the second half as I was discussing with Lava. Right now, the officials are deciding who wins the title. They're trying. I think you got to. This is the comment that you brought up. It's a violent conduct by the rules, throwing a ball at any player. So, right then and there, that should be an easy one. And I assume violent conduct means red card, right? And that's VAR.
Yep.
All right. So, what's the point of VAR if they're not going to pick up on violent conduct in the game? Like,
you could have. If this was like the 70s, you could have thrown a ball at a player, and before you know it, you got people running onto the pitch to have a go. That's the sort of thing it does, right? It gets people pissed off. It's inciting violence, right?
True. Yeah, and also when Haaland took out, I think it was Saliba, he ran right at Saliba as the ball was coming through the middle, basically cleaned him out, and nothing was given there, no card or anything. And they want to stop the game because of what Trossard did. Trossard didn't take out a Saliba. That's not even close to the collision that you had there. So
Haaland got away with a lot of stuff.
Let me ask you guys a question about Haaland, because I was listening to Talk Sport on the way home, and they were talking about all of this, and Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy, and O'Hara was going, I like all this shithousery. I don't want them to be swapping shirts and being friends. And I'll meet you for a drink afterwards. But with Haaland, for example, he was on it all game. I think he said to Skelly, didn't he? They had that altercation. He said something like, who the fuck are you? Because obviously Skelly's not been around for a while. And after the game, he was tapping Mikola Teta on his back and saying, "Stay humble, stay humble."
Dude,
And then
we'll save
Gabriel-
that
and then Gabriel
for
Jesus
that's for
got
the end of
involved.
end of the game stuff. Come on, dude, stop jumping
Gary's
ahead.
got him.
Save the
Don't
juicy
you-
bits until
Say-
Let me ask you a
we got-
question. What I'm saying is, right?
This
let
time,
me
wait a
ask- the
second,
question I wanna ask is, right?
Before you say another thing, let me finish off a
If
couple
that was one of
of
our
comments
players,
here.
if we had a player that
No,
had all of those
we're
things,
not talking about it.
that's
No,
what I
hold
wanted
it.
to ask.
Hold that
Gary's
thought.
got a
Hold that
monologue
thought.
plan. He's
Hold
got a
that thought.
monologue.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought. All right, we'll get to the end of the game a little bit. Stefan,
You,
Jess,
you
I
can put that in
don't
your
know
next
Jess. I
mix,
don't think
Stan.
I know.
Hold on,
Tony,
hold on.
shut up.
Gary's got a point to prove. And
No, I'm
well, we're
quiet.
here. God
You're
damn
still
it,
mad. You're
nobody-
still yapping. Come on.
Stan.
All right. Stefan, I know Jess is, but hopefully she's feeling better. If you want to laugh a little bit, she can laugh at Tony on the show. So hopefully, I hope things are
Gary.
all right over there.
Or Stan.
Yeah. So let me see what else we got here. Yeah, no, this is the comments you already saw. All right, and I don't know what this all is this, but yeah. I don't know what this means. Okay, so Big Gunner bought a frog. All right, everybody. Yeah.
Bye. He caught it.
All right. So, all right.
Ribbit.
Game is
Ribbit.
over. Lots of things that happened. I'll let Stan go first, but let's get this thing all started. I think they actually got a yellow card when that goal went in. One of their coaches actually ran onto the pitch when they scored, and so so there was yellow cards being given at least right at the end. It could have been other ones as well, but I guess as players were saying, we're shaking hands with everybody. Actually, before, if you guys remember, when they took the kick in the middle of the pitch, Harland ran at one of our center backs again. There was a little bit of a tussle there just before we even kicked the ball to finish off the game.
He was
And
rabid
then later,
in that game.
then later on in the game, and this is where I let Stan kind of kick in here. The players are saying, shaking hands with everybody, saying how you doing, and Holland decides he wants to talk with Mikel Arteta, and I forget the phrase he used, but
Stay humble or remain
stay
humble.
humble, stay humble, eh? Stay, and then like
He was
Arteta's
taking the
like,
piss
what?
out of it.
And he said it again, and then like you see Gabrielle step in and was like, basically, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then he goes off on Gabrielle, basically calling him a effing clown and all this stuff, and you're like, what in the world is going? What, dude? Your team just drew at the death. What are you doing? So
They had some balls.
Whoa!
Sorry, Gary.
It's not even you're not even going next. All I gotta say is,
Stan's already gone twice.
Dude, you went twice to start this show. Just remember that. All right, I'm not like I'm keeping a tally. All right, I'll let you chat. But anyways, at that point, I believe that Ben White was about to step in, and Arteta saw it because like Ben White's like, all right, Gabriel Jesus isn't going to do anything about this, and he just got shoved away. He just got shoved away by Grealish, and Ben White's probably going, I haven't done much today. I haven't done any foolishness or anything. Let me go talk to this guy. And Arteta basically does, stepped in, calls Gabby and Ben White, and basically tries to get them away from the situation at hand. Or else I think they don't want to play us in the Emirates. Let's just say that they're not going to want to play us there. It's not going to be fun. So, Stan, talk to me about,
I was just because Jamie O'Hara was talking about how he loves the shithousery, and that's how he wants to see his players with the passion, and instead of shaking hands and meeting up for a drink afterwards and all of that. And I'm just thinking, like, if that was one of our players who did all of those things, threw a ball at the back of another player's head, with going up to the opposing manager, goading him and getting involved, calling, would you be like, yeah, that's my man, or would you be like, this is a bit embarrassing? I just wondered what you would think. Personally, for me, I think it's a little bit too much. I understand a bit of shithousery. You know what I mean? I like what Ben White does with goalkeepers at corners and stuff like that. But picking up the ball and throwing it at the back of players' heads, I think that's a bit much. I think there's why do you think that you could go up to the opposing manager
Tony, hold on a second.
and give, you know, going up to the opposing manager and giving the manager verbals? I can understand it if maybe there was someone who's been marking you going and they didn't get a glove on you, and you go up to them and go, yeah, maybe next time, and you're like ribbing them, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you didn't lay a glove on me in this game. But going up to the manager, and that's, for me, I just think that, where's his head at? What's up with the guy? He just scored his 100th goal. He should be celebrating. He should be pleased, right? I mean, I don't get it.
True. And I'm gonna skip to Tony because Tony didn't get to go first, and I'm gonna let Spencer go last. Spencer, sorry.
That's fine, Tony. Gary, it's 100% fine. Go ahead, Tony.
What are you gonna say about at least? I call him the wee petty Viking now. He's not really gonna get a name from me.
I mean, we see it from him all the time, and it never really gets called. So it's a take what Spencer was calling for. It's a take Gabrielle just rolling around, even though that's not in his character to do that. But that's what people would have to do before Holland finally gets in trouble. I mean, you're already this 6'6" giant fucking Viking that scores goals for fun. I mean, he doesn't even have to look at the goal. He can score. He would be on the Harlem Globetrotters. I mean, he's already like doubled the record pace for hat tricks. I mean, he's just.
Why do you need to lower yourself? You can do all of that, right? You can do all of that, but you still have to. Why lower yourself? You don't need to.
Yeah, I mean, why do you have to do that? Why? I don't know why you have to step down to that level when you're like the level is better than any talent that's ever been in the Premier League.
Yeah, not good.
It's petty. It's very petty.
Yep. All right, Spencer, have your say on at least that sequence there with Harlan, just to basically finish off the his last like contribution to what I think was a terrible game for him. In terms of, as a footballer,
it's the lack of accountability. He was allowed to do whatever he wanted the whole game. I mean, you just got done throwing a ball at the back of someone's head. You just ran into Thomas Partey at the end of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, there was, we talk about at the end of the day, and I've said this to you, Gary, numerous times. I would love a weekend when all these players start just surrounding the ref, yellow card, yellow card, yellow card. Just take control. Take control. Like, it is the lack of institutional control that the referees literally have on any given Premier League game is embarrassing for the top level of that league. It's just an utter embarrassment. I don't care if they have to put academy kids out the next game. Get some control, and we can talk about some of the calls they missed. But the fact that, and I don't know what Pep's going to say to Holland, because I feel like Pep and Arteta have this level of respect for each other. Arteta would go at Klopp, right? But there's this level of respect between the two. So I'm feeling that Holland probably got lectured at by Pep afterwards about that. I don't think that was what he wanted to see happen. But again, it doesn't do us any good right now. But the fact that he was allowed to just do pretty much whatever the whole game, it's kind of like MJ. MJ could get away with almost anything, right, Gary? We can go pick a sport. The guys.
So I thought you were talking about Michael Jackson. I'm like, Michael Jackson?
No, we're talking to Michael Jordan.
I know you mean
that. They could work on
the problem was that you have
Tom Brady was the same.
Michael Jordan is not really a good thing, because if you recall, like when he would play Detroit, if you thought like he was getting away with murder, no, they were getting away with murder, right? So for me, he could back it up. That's the problem. And
my point being though is that the star power gets the favoritism.
True.
They're able to work on the rest. They're not going to. Tom Brady's going to get the calls like that.
Yeah.
That's really. one yellow card might have. Listen, there's two ways to look at this. Either A, we're really underneath their skin, or B, they just got away with whatever they wanted to get away with on Sunday and took advantage of it. But you got to think about how frustrating that was for them to have 85+% possession and can't break a team down until one moment.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the glorious Man City. We've seen people say, well, Arsenal's too defensive. You know, like, well, it's your job to break down that defense. That's not Arsenal's job to play, forward the back. Yeah, he ran 6 at the back with the keeper and 2 dudes in front. I mean, it was genius what he did to kind of take away all the lanes.
What do people want? I can play it open with 10 men and it's a cricket score. You know what I mean? We lose like
it's an entertainment product, right?
Yeah.
But I was very I haven't liked Man City regardless. I dislike them anyway. So seeing what I saw out of them on Sunday didn't make me dislike them any more than I already do. We can talk about the other stuff, but that's not the players. The players have nothing to do with the 115 charges. They got everything to do with the stuff we see on the field. And we've been chasing them, and they're the big boogeyman. And what's depressing about this is you were 30 seconds away from putting the boogeyman down at his house. You don't win the title in September. You won't. But that would have sent a message. You still sent one, but this one would have been more effective. Oh, crap. Pep would have come out with a new formation of Arsenal to beat him at the Etihad. Yep. He would have done something different.
We should have been more joyous at getting a point away from home at the Etihad. But if you look at the end of the game, they only got a point, and they were acting like they won.
Oh, 100%.
We were more heads down, like we almost had that, even though we managed to walk away. But that shows you how there is a slight transition happening.
True. So I'm going to say...
And one last thing I want to say about the referee as well. When you look at the performance that he had in that game, I think there's only 1 or 2 reasons why he could have a performance the way that he did. One is he's either inept, i.e. he's not very good at the job that he's supposed to be doing to have a game like that, or he's corrupt. It's one of the two, as far as I can see. Not very good, or he's doing it on purpose for whatever reason. True. So I don't understand why people are trying to handle that. It's one of the two. It means he shouldn't be.
Maybe I might say a little bit here. So,
Gary,
I'm going to say hi to Bargav joins us. This is one of the things that happened in the game for me anyways. City, I think they become petty to me, the way they acted and all of that, especially the way the wee petty pie Viking handled himself. Yeah. Mikel, Gabriel Jesus was just trying to calm things down. He took it a little. He went personal. At least he went overboard a little bit, the way that he talked back to Gabriel, and he's lucky that Ben White didn't step in sooner. But like I said, I think when they return to the Emirates, it's not going to be fun for them, that's for sure, because they know the fans will remember, and they're gonna have some problems. There's those videos of all of, as I said, the petty Vikings videos, little clips that he did in that game. That should be on repeat every game. That's how everybody's going to pay for it. That's all, because that's what happened there. I don't know, but I didn't really think we got punked. Oh, I guess Gabriel Jesus could have got punked, I guess maybe, but it was just definitely talked down to in that game. And we have a lot of material that'll keep us going throughout this season until we get back in February when we play them. I think one of the things that also this game showed everybody is that, as you said, like the mentality for Arsenal is totally different now. Go down a goal and it doesn't matter. Right. Remember like a couple years ago, Saliba own goal, and everybody was like, "All right, no, that's fine. That's fine. He'll respond and respond in kind is what he did." That's kind of where we are now. It don't matter what. We go down a man, we go down a goal. It doesn't matter. That was the first time we've actually played from behind. You know that? Played from behind for about 20 minutes in that game. That's it. For the entire season, 20 minutes or so we've played from behind. So that's how
Right from home,
good we
yeah.
are. That's where no,
Oh,
20 minutes. We've never been behind.
that's
Yeah,
all
even
year,
longer than this
Gary.
season, we
That's
have a
all
record.
year.
Yeah.
We
That's
have a
all
record for the
year.
year as well, but
Yeah.
for the season. And up until that game, it was like the last stat was like minutes behind. It's like 0. It's like, what's that?
Yeah.
Do you
So
know
like
what I mean?
like I said, that's why I'm like, we can lean on our defense. Like when Moreno comes back, and if Tomiyasu comes back, I mean that just gives you even more. Like we can go into these cup matches with our backups, and you're not getting anything from in those games either. You know what I mean? Like Saliba and Gabriella hopefully won't have to play in those games, and we'll still be solid, and we'll still be able to, like, teams will come at us and it won't matter because we're good. And I think that's where, for
Still
me,
need to
we
score,
don't.
though.
It doesn't matter who we're missing on the attacking side. The defense has so far held up, and I hope it does. And we'll get there with the defense. Just lean on them, and hopefully we will rotate them at some point. And
But I don't want to see a lot
give
of
them rest.
0-0 draws keeping in because you've got such a good defense.
You can't win
but
0-0.
But we can't put the ball in the net.
Yeah, no.
And that's for me is a big worry still. Very streaky up front.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's going to come down to Martinelli pulling his weight, right? I think that's really the one right now that I have the most concerns on. I think I said something to you, Gary, or it was you, Tom, and Sam, talking about, hey, like with Odegaard being out, that defense is still good enough to at least keep a 0 on the sheet, and we just got to find that one. They made a song about 1-0 to the Arsenal, so obviously we need to score more goals. But Martinelli is going to be so key on that because I think coming into Sunday's game, I think he was on 17 games. He hadn't had a goal and assist in, and now he's finally got one. But he's going to be very critical. Havertz, I think, is still going to do what he's going to do. Saka's going to do what he's going to do. Jesus, I have confidence that he can, when he's available, he can be a good player for us. And Sterling's another one. There's options up at the top. And, of course, we're not forgetting Leandro Trossard. But like you said, Sam, like I understand, there's definitely some concerns at times that, it's a little different out when Jesus and Sterling are available on the bench, right? You look over and say, okay, I might be able to get a goal from one of them. But Jesus picks up a knock, and now it's just Sterling. Then that becomes the problem. And and here's the good thing. Hopefully Wednesday we can see Ethan Nowari, Skelly. I mean, props to him. I don't know how old he is. I think he's about 18, 19. Big moment to come into the Etihad, knowing what's on the line. Yeah. Stand up to Haaland. Let's
on a yellow card. On a yellow card already.
He was already on the But what I like is the fact that he
came on the pitch walking a tightrope.
And here's the thing. I like the fact that he came up and addressed Haaland too. He wasn't afraid of the moment. That's what you need. You need mentality monsters. Yeah. That's the only way you're going to win a championship if you're more mentally tough than the other team. You got to get lucky. You got to be good, but you got to be more mentally strong in that team too. Yeah, and I think what we've seen in the last 3 years, Gary and Stan, Tony, we've watched that mentality just grow and grow and grow. And maybe it'll come to fruition this year. Maybe it won't. But this squad is deep enough to win one of these cups. One of these competitions, we're definitely going to find a way to win.
True. And just one thing as well, I'll just say before I'll let you go, Stan, here, is there's only 2 players in the league that have contributed to a goal in 5 games to start the season. One, we don't call him by his name anymore. It's just the wee Viking. The other guy is Saka. So for anybody saying, what, Saka this, Saka that, the man still contributes. Only played a half and still contributed, right? Those crosses that he put in there, those aren't luck. They happen too much for them to be luck. He puts the ball in the right spot many a time, not just on corners. So yeah, got to keep that as well. To Stan, I know you wanted to say something.
Yeah, my biggest fear moving forward of this team is that taking Saka out of the equation, where is that player or players that get you a brace in the game, or they score in consecutive games? Where is that player where you go, oh wow, such and such has scored now in the last 4 games? We seem to be missing that, and other teams seem to have that. Players that will get 2 in a game and in the next game get 1, or will follow up games of consecutive goals. We seem to be missing that. It seems to be very patchy, and scratchy when it comes to goal scoring, taking Saka out of the equation. I mean, Havertz, you know, as well as he did last season when he got into it, he's still not getting braces or, you know, following up games. Score a goal and then there's nothing for a couple of games. Then there's another one. Then there's nothing for a game. Then there's another one. Where's the braces? You know, and it's the same with Jesus as well. It's the same. He's probably worse. And I just think that's killing us. And I just don't know whether our defence alone is going to do it, because you've got to put the ball in the back of the net. And we don't seem to have anyone that's prolific at that. Our best striker would probably finish off the ball is Trossard, and he seems to only operate coming off of the bench. When we give him the games, he seems to ghost in and out of games. So I'm worried about finishing.
I heard that.
Gary, I have to throw the brakes on and throw it in reverse. What you said about Bill Lambier and Rodman and crew, you really undersell the criminal element to them absolutely murdering and just rape and pillaging would better be the word of what they did to MJ.
I wasn't going to go there, and I think people got the gist that knew about the NBA back then. But yes, I hear you. All right, we've hit the 90-minute mark. We're gonna let everybody have their say as we get out of here. You know, so I was just looking it up. And Saka's actually got 6 GA as we speak, so probably he's doing really well there. But Spencer, I'm gonna let you start off the proceedings as we get out of here. Does anything you want to talk about, and then say your goodbyes?
Well, you know, it's definitely a roller coaster week. I don't think I got to talk about the Atalanta game with you, Gary, but it's about what I expected for the first Champions League game away. You know, picked up 3 points at Tottenham, you know, a point at Atalanta, and picked up a point at the Etihad. I think if we'd have had this conversation in the international break, I think would have been probably okay with knowing that we were going to get that was going to be the outcome. I think, you know, looking at the first 5 games and how tough they were going to be with the Champions League, now with the League Cup coming up on Wednesday, the Brighton game, you know, that's the one that sticks out and kind of sticks to your head a little bit and makes you think. But hopefully when we have this conversation in May, we're not sitting here saying, man, that Brighton game cost us. I don't think it's fair to do that now. I think it's still too early. Brighton's still a good team. But, you know, we've made it this far. I talked to a buddy about this. You know, we were never going to be as healthy as we were last year. So this becomes the mentality of the next man up, the next man up. And we saw that. We saw Newari step up at Tottenham. You know, he was asked to come on the pitch when there was an injury. He stepped up. We saw Lewis Skelly come on and make his statement. And, you know, good on them, because that's someone else that Arteta might be able to turn to in a game and say, hey, you know, I've seen you do it at the Etihad. I've seen you do it at Tottenham away. Can you do it for me against Ipswich? And that's going to be the key going forward. So, you know, hey, look, keep the faith. It's very depressing to see how that ended. But if we went into Sunday and you said, hey, we're going to get a point out of this, I think most of us would have taken it. The problem is how it happened. It makes it harder to accept. So, but anyway, have a good week. This is fun hanging out with you, Tom. Tony. Stan, good seeing you as always. And Gary, thanks for having me on as always. And back to you, Gary.
Very cool. Stan, I'll let you have your say. Anything you want to say before you say your goodbyes?
Yeah, I think that after the last couple of seasons and now into this season, a game like we've just played, I think now, if there were any doubters looking if we are, proper challengers to Man City, I think now that it's obvious that we are. That it's not a flash in the pan thing with Arsenal. That we really are, you know, like the number 1 contender for the crown, which helped by Man City. And I think that, you know, there's still a lot of games to go. And I have to say that the performance that I've seen from the team this season, even though it's not where I want it to be, I still felt that I would have liked to have done more in other areas of the team from the transfer window. For what we have, and I've always thought that we were a little bit short, they're doing really well. really, really well. And I have to give the team more credit than I gave them credit for. And I gave them a lot of credit to begin with. They're really pulling out performances, and I'm thinking to myself, like, fair play, round of applause. I feel immensely proud after the performance, but I still feel a little bit deflated. You know, I still feel a little bit deflated because of the impact that someone like the referee can have on some of the decisions, and you know, losing it in the way that we did. Maybe it would have been easier if they'd scored, you know, their equaliser in the 85th minute to make it 2-2, and then we managed to see the game out. Maybe we would have had a different feeling about that, rather than getting to the last few seconds and then boom, that's it. You're not getting the 3 points there, you're just getting one. So looking forward to the next game.
That
I
guy's
just
getting
want to say,
the 3 points.
as well,
Tony, let him finish. Let him finish, dude.
I'll say my goodbye now. Thanks for having me on. Great to speak to Spencer, yourself, Gary, and Tony, and everybody in the chat box. And maybe I'll see you again. So cheers.
Cool. Tony, you can finally have your say, and then say
It's
bye.
sorry, I was just carrying the car from around stand, racing off. So that's what I was bringing attention to. It's kind of one of those things where I would almost like to lose the title by 2 points, and knowing that Holland beat us 3-0 because he looked like he could done that going 20 minutes in. But I'll be at the end of the season if City wins by a point and be thinking about what happened at the end of this game.
True. Yeah, that means that, you know, we do play them, so we can. There's a you know, we can jump ahead of them if we keep pace with them, all right? And we have a team that can do that defensively, so I think we'll be all right. Anything else you want to say there, Tony?
Nope. There is one thing, because this is another thing the commentators were talking about. They were talking about, like, well, one thing Arsenal was lacking, and it was, they said, a 20 to 25 goal score. Because if we had that in this game, we went 3-2, and we're not having the conversation we had in the last 90 minutes.
There you. All right, you done? Say bye.
Good night, people.
All right, cool. Yeah, no, I hear about the 20 goal scorer, but I don't know. It sounds like a money thing to me more than anything else. I think they wanted to do it. I just don't think they wanted to spend the money. So there you go.
We spent more money in defense, though, Gary.
They didn't want to
53.
spend the money. That doesn't mean they didn't spend money. They want to spend the money on the striker.
It's funny. You have Ben White, then you have the Italian there, and both of them costed more than your starting center back there. It's kind of crazy.
That's what happens when you recruit well. That's called good
Levels
recruiting.
to this, Tony. There's levels.
There's levels to it, but it's also called good recruiting. All right, it's good recruiting. Like Foden didn't cost City anything. He's supposed to be a world-class player, right?
Yeah.
Gordeval cost them a lot.
So, you know, they you spend somewhere and you recruit well somewhere else. But everybody, we're gonna finish up right now. We just got a couple of comments and then we'll get out of here. Yeah, I think we're playing Bolton. I think that's what you meant here, Bargav. But that should be, yeah, we should be able to get a win out of that. I would hope, even if we go pretty we switch up a lot of players there. And I think for me, anyways, every game we should be trying to win. So that means the League Cup too. So I don't, yeah, you know, Stefan, I'm sorry, but I hope your team does not win. And if we ever were to play you guys in a cup match, but yeah, no, like I said, this game could have gone multiple different ways. I don't think this game, anyways, the 2 points, I guess, like I said, 2 points dropped is kind of where I stood on this thing. And the 2 points dropped was the 30 seconds, or it could have actually been the goal from Gabriel. He could have had a brace. You know, we're talking about players with braces. Gabriel had a chance to get a brace in this game. That could have been the brace you're talking about, right? Because we put ourselves in positions to do that, right? So we are. I think in most games there's a player that can get a brace, and they just can't. They're not clinical. I mean, we know that, right? Havertz had a chance to get a brace, didn't do it. With this game, Gabriel could have done that all with headers and didn't do it. But we're getting close, and I think if we hit the 2-goal mark, we'll win most of our games, if not all of them. So, as you say, I think one goal might be good, but I think if we get 2, we definitely will win most games. We're that good on defense. But thank you again for joining. We'll be back next Monday. The show will have their show on Saturday, the road trip. There might be a guest host there. I'm going to be away, so we might have a guest host there. So check that out. Thanks everybody that joined us. We'll see you guys on the next one. And all right, yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one, and we'll do this thing again. Everybody, thank you very much for joining us. If you haven't already, subscribe and like and all that kind of stuff. We'll see you guys later. And
Life is a journey. Don't waste your trip. Enjoy the ride.